The Vodacom Durban July is the only Grade 1 race in South Africa that has as a precursor Royal Ascot. Not that any horses running in the Vodacom Durban July run at Royal Ascot, but the fact of the matter is it sets the tone. It sets the heritage and the history and the pomp and the splendor. And that's what the Vodacom Durban July is all about. Going back to 1896, it is South Africa's most famous thoroughbred horse race. And the Vodacom Durban July Gallops are an opportunity for many people to come and see exactly how the horses have been prepared for the big day. Obviously, there are preliminary races that horses take part in. We know the form, we can look at it on teletrack.com. But the bottom line is to get to the gallops gets the crack going. The coffee and the sticky buns, it's really an opportunity to see what's happening beneath the skin. It all goes back to April when the horses are nominated. There's a first nomination phase, a second nomination phase, there are supplementary nomination phases, and then the final acceptances took place on the Tuesday prior to the gallops on the Thursday, which of course was the 22nd of June. The first horse to gallop was a horse called Nightingale, owned by Mary Slack, trained by Candace Bass Robinson, and she will be contractually ridden by Anthony Del Peche, who of course had partnered Al Sahim to all three legs of the Triple Crown. He was victorious in the Derby, and that mount now goes to Simanga Kamalo for Sheikh Mohammed bin Khalifa Al Maktoum, Sean Terry, of course, the trainer. The second horse that we saw gallop was Brazuca from the Johan Janssen van Vuren stable in the colours of Lawrence Vernus. Red and white colours with that beautiful fleur-de-lis. The third horse we saw gallop was Marinaresco. He's a son of Silvano from the Candace Bass Robinson stable. He'll be ridden by Bernard Faydherbe, of course, the only jockey ever to have won all three legs of the Winter Series twice. Marinaresco definitely a live wire, although his run in the Gold Challenge was somewhat disappointing. The fourth horse we saw gallop was a horse called French Navy from the Sean Terry stable. He's a dual Grade 1 winner, having won the Daily News 2000 when he was a 3-year-old, and of course the SA Classic. He galloped with a horse called Captain and Master. Then we saw the dual Grade 1 winner, Master Sabina. He was victorious in the Sansui Summer Cup on two separate occasions with a year separating them, and he galloped very well. He's now with the Justin Snaith stable. He runs in the colours of Michael de Broglie. The next inmate to gallop was Saratoga Dancer from the Duncan Howell stable in the colours of Rodney and Jane Trotter. Chris Winters also involved, and Duncan Howells, of course, has done a great job. He was very disappointing in the Gold Challenge, but there were excuses for that, and he's sure to strip a fit and sound horse on Vodacom Durban July Day. The next horse we looked at was the Conglomerate. He galloped on the poly track. He's, of course, last year's winner. Joey Ramsden is the trainer, and although he will not be ridden by Anton Marcus in this year's Vodacom Durban July, he certainly looks unbelievably well and is sure to run a big race. The mount of Pierre Stradom, who was victorious on the Conglomerate last year, is It's My Turn. He's in the colours of Fred Krabbier, trained by Justin Snaith, and Pierre Stradom is adamant that It's My Turn will be able to match at least his performance when winning the Grade 1 Investec Derby down in Cape Town on Sunmet Day. Then there's Tilbury Fort from the stable of Sean Terry. Many say probably a little bit outclassed, but Sean Terry is 17 million rand clear of the next trainer and would simply not put this horse in the race if he didn't think that he had some sort of chance. Nice to see Eric van Niekerk and Mark Curry and a whole team of guys involved in this horse, Tilbury Fort, who galloped with Sarissa. Then there's the money horse. Back from long odds, this is Cram Bambuli from the stable of Justin Snaith. Michael Shea will tell you a little bit later that there's been a lot of shrewd money for Cram Bambuli. He worked very, very well indeed. And then there was Edict of Nantes. He is the ruling favourite from the Brett Crawford stable. He's a dual Grade 1 winner, having won the Investec Derby on Sunmet Day and, of course, the Daily News 2000. And he was asked to do nothing more than a little hack canter as a result of the fact that he is absolutely cherry ripe, and Brett Crawford was not happy with the pull-up area advised by Anton Marcus and decided to take it real easy just to fulfill the conditions of the gallop. And then there was 10 Gun Salute, a very impressive winner of the Betting World 1900, ridden by Muzi Yeni on that occasion, who will be back from the working holiday that he's enjoyed in Mauritius to partner with this very impressive individual from the Duncan Howell stable. Every single Vodacom Durban July is shrouded with a little bit of intrigue. And the intriguing horse this year is a horse called Black Arthur. He was a winner of the KZN Guineas last year and has been somewhat lackluster in his preparation for this year's race. However, trainer Justin Snaith is adamant that this horse will run a massive race. He certainly worked extremely well. Then there was the runner-up of the SA Derby. His name is Pagoda from the Jeff Woodruff stable. He worked very well with his stable companion. Her name, of course, is Bipot. She's been Group 1 placed, and the connections are very happy with the preparation of Pagoda. No harm in looking at the scratched horse, Elusive Silver, because he worked so well. You can hardly imagine that this horse pulled up with an injured tendon. This is one of the mysteries of the Gallops, and Justin Snaith and, of course, Ken and Jane Truter will be absolutely devastated that Elusive Silver will not be able to take his place in this year's Vodacom Durban July. But, of course, that opens the door for Horizon, one of the most expensive horses ever sold in South Africa. He's, of course, a son of Dynasty, and he's trained by Candace Bass Robinson, owned by a contingent of very, very passionate men and women, of course, and he'll be ridden on the big day by Richard Fourie. The penultimate horse that we saw gallop this morning was a horse called Mr. Winsome. Now, he was a winner of the KwaZulu-Natal Derby with Anthony Del Pesce aboard for Dean Canterman, and he really is a very, very handsome horse. Has a fantastic record on the right-hand turn, and he's a horse that could well pay to follow. He's there with a great purpose. And now we need some opinions from some of the experts. Michael Shea, representing Betting World, tells us about the money of the race and exactly why they decided to sponsor the Betting World 2200.
Andrew, we wanted to strategically put our brand at the top 3 race meetings in South Africa. On Met Day, on Summer Cup Day, and obviously on the greatest horse racing event day, the Vodacom Durban July. So the Betting World 2200 was the step up from the 1900, and we're looking forward to this partnership that we've got with the Gold Circle.
Well, obviously you're going to turn over more money than any other event. Has there been any dramatic interest in the race since the announcement of the final field and the draw?
Yes, Andrew, Addictive Nancy's is our hot pot favourite. We personally think at Betting World that it's the horse to beat. Al-Sahim coming from Joburg, we have him at 9-2. And funny enough, yesterday, a lot of money for the conglomerate. 12-1, last year's winner, must be value, has to be.
Al-Sahim is drawn in pole position. Does he have the early gate speed according to the style of running that he's accustomed to?
We think so, but we know horse racing makes us all fools, and that first 400 metres is going to be critical in the race. Sean Terry and Smangi, to have a winner, they've had a great season, and this will just cap it off for the championship.
Now, if Michael Shea's lying in bed late at night and he's looking through this card and he's skimming to himself, where's a little bit of value, each way value?
Crambambuli for me, each way value the whole way. We've seen money from the announcement of the first entries, the second entries, the final supplements. Yesterday, the money hasn't stopped coming for it, so each way value for me is Crambambuli.
Graham Hawkins is the racing executive of Gold Circle. Of course, it's been an incredible build-up, and he always adds great value to tell you about who he fancies and exactly what has happened during the build-up to South Africa's most famous thoroughbred horse race. It's not been uncommon for you to nail your colours to the mast. You were big on a horse called Power King not so long ago. What is Graham Hawkins' fancy this year?
Well, Andrew, if I've got to go purely according to the Gallops, together with a bit of my gut feel, I think the conglomerate is going to go very close to defending his crown. He looks absolutely superb. He's had a perfect prep. I think they've had this race in mind. Mayfair speculators have got so many options when going for the big set weight races with Legal, Eagle, etc. I think this Vodacom Durban July this year has been his mission for a long time. He didn't disgrace himself in the Summer Cup. He ran second. He looks spot on. He's looking great. I think he'll run very well. My lurker in the pack, and I was very impressed with the way she worked on the video. We didn't see her here this morning, but we saw her on video, is the bottom weight Safe Harbour. I know it's a tough test for a 3-year-old filly. She deserves a big one. She comes in with a weight that is indicative of the fact that she's been unlucky in so many of her races. Reminds me of when La Fabulous won the J&B Met all those years ago. He was slung in because he was always the bridesmaid, didn't incur the penalties, and came home smoking, and we all had a good day that day. So I think Safe Harbour fits that bill. But Black Arthur worked extremely well, so did Elusive Silver, so did 10 Gun Salute. So on what I saw this morning, I'm certainly not persuaded to move away from the conglomerate. I'm certainly not persuaded to move away from Safe Harbor. Those will be my key horses in setting up my trifectas, quartets, exactas, etc. But the 3-year-olds you've got to respect. They seem well handicapped on the line through Gold Standard. He's the only one that's been exposed against the older horses in the Met, and he got a rating of 116. I cannot believe that Gold Standard is 8 to 9 pounds better than Edict of Nantes and El Sahem. So they look very well handicapped. It all adds up to what is typically another Vodacom Durban July. Very intriguing contest. The 3-year-olds against the older horses. They come out, speaking about Edict of Nantes and El Sahem, of course this is the first time they come up against the older horses, but they've been quite leniently treated by the handicappers. I think the race will show. Safe Harbor each way.
Brett Crawford is the trainer of the favourite, Edict of Nantes. This year you have the favourite for the Vodacom Durban July, a horse that has done almost exactly what Trademark did when he won the Vodacom Durban July, by just cantering down the track and just showing the public, according to the conditions, that his well-being is not in question.
Yeah, Andrew, he's done well. He's a fit horse. I thought, his work this morning, Anton eased him down on purpose. He wasn't happy with the pull-up area, so we didn't want to take any chances. At the end of the day, his work's been done at home. We've only got 10 days left, and to be honest, I couldn't be happier where we are at the moment.
I know that you concentrate on your horses and not worrying about what other people are doing. But the reality is that you have a market rival, a horse that you've beaten at level weights, who now receives a half a kilo from you. He's also gone back to Johannesburg. Are you reasonably confident that you will maintain that profile with El Sahem?
Yeah, look, he's a Derby winner. There was very little in it last time when they met. He's obviously got a draw 1. We all come into 12. So you've got to factor in everything like that. But, Andrew, sometimes, the July is a tough race. It's a rough run race. And to be honest, I think sometimes you need a lot of luck in running. So, I think the horses are pretty equal in ability. My horse certainly had a fantastic prep, and I always believe you need to have great preps to win Group 1s. So we've got a lot in our favour, but at the end of the day, when the pen's open, you do need an element of luck to run your way, and none of us can predict that. But, from my side, I'm very happy, and I certainly wouldn't swap my horse for anyone.
All said and done, we hope that you've enjoyed this program and that it's been insightful with regard to finding the winner of this year's Vodacom Durban July. We can look forward to an interview with Sean Tarry on Wednesday night with regard to his runners, El Sahem, who's the second favourite winner of the SA Derby. Of course, he's got Tilbury Fort in the race and French Navy. We look forward to that. Thanks for joining us and enjoy the rest of the week.